Very best. Hello, everyone.
Good evening, everyone, from International Skills Development Center, ISDC. While we are waiting for our other fellow audiences to join with us, maybe please let us know from where you are joining. Our speakers is already with us. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm from Chittagong.
Please put text message in the chat box so all of us can see each other. Text information. Kindly mute your mic.
Sorry.
Kindly mute all of your mic. We'll start our tonight's session in another few minutes. Please write your full name, where are you from, your city or country. Our guest of speaker will have an idea from where you all are joining. Please note that tonight's session is going to be interactive. So if you have any question, please put in the chat box. We'll direct to our speaker. For all audience, please put your mic mute. It will create unnecessary noises for others. So you can see that our audiences are from Bangladesh, from Nepal. There are audiences from Bhutan, Philippines, Malaysia, and Somalia as well.
Can you hear me? Dear teacher.
We can hear you.
I am from Bangladesh.
Right, thank you very much. We can hear you very clearly.
Catholic. I'm from Bangladesh, just going to my house, and I am fulfilled joined with you after 15 minutes because of now I am in microbus. So
All right,
not
all
yet,
right. Safe journey to your home.
not,
Please join back
not
with
yet
us.
properly
Yeah.
light here. Not yet properly light here. I am fulfilled joined.
Right. Thank you very much. We are gonna start our session tonight. Those who are still joining, it has got to be very fast because we are running out of our time. We are already 5 minutes ahead of our schedule.
There is an announcement from ISDC. We'll issue a participant certificate for all participants, but there is a condition. So everyone have to stay with us end of our seminar. Then we'll get the participant certificate from ISDC. So stay with us.
All right. Good evening, everyone from International Skills Development Center. All of us are aware that tonight we're going to have a session on a very current issues. As we know that English is international language, and especially the Asian countries, after their mother tongue, we need to use English. In some cases, we need to English to learn, to acquire knowledges, higher studies, even for technological purposes, career purposes, we're using English, right? So fast track your successes with practical English. Our distinguished guest of speaker tonight is Ms. Evelyn Samuel. We would like to say a few words before we invite our guest of speaker to start the session. Ms. Evelyn Samuel is basically a corporate trainer. She has started her career as a broadcast journalist in BBC. My apologies, there are some interruptions. As I'm saying that Ms. Evelyn Samuel started her career as a broadcast journalist, reading TV and radio news bulletins, interviewing newsworthy personalities, covering events, and training scriptwriters for programs she produced. At the moment, she is also a certified trainer. Ms. Evelyn is a corporate trainer. She's training in Malaysia and other countries. I can talk about her for tonight, but yet I don't think I can finish it. So let's invite our guest of speaker, Ms. Evelyn, and listen from herself. Ms. Evelyn, it's over to you. Thank you. Ms. Evelyn, your mic is muted. Please unmute. Right.
All right, you can hear me now?
Yeah, very clear.
Good. It's really, really good to be here with you because I know that this topic can be really, really helpful to all of your careers, whatever it is you want to do. Whether you want to work for someone else, or whether you're starting your own business, or whether you're studying, you can actually fast track your success with practical English. And that's really what I'm going to talk about. Not academic English, but practical English. Okay, this is an overview of what I will be covering. I will talk about the components of practical English. What is that? And then I will give you some real life case stories of actual what happened and how success was achieved by using English in each of those sectors. And there'll be question and answer times. There'll be 2 slots for question and answer, one in the middle and one at the end. But with each segment, you will have practical takeaways to use immediately. So in other words, you can take notes and you can take tips that you can use immediately. A little bit about myself. If we look here, these are the keys to success. And where they led me was, first of all, as a broadcast journalist. After that, I moved on to being the public affairs assistant to the US ambassador, where that was also building on journalistic skills, but then going into policy, input, implementation, bilateral relationships, all of that. Then when I returned to Malaysia, part of the things that I did was as a public speaker and a TV talk show host. Then I added on to that, became a certified professional trainer because I wanted to use all the things that I had learned everywhere to help other people and to share all of that. And recently, many of the times people have been asking me to do documentation, proofreading. A lot of these people are PhD holders. They are submitting research papers. So it's not that they don't know English, they do. And they are subject matter experts. And that is, in other words, they know what they're talking about, but they actually needed some proofreading in grammar and syntax and that kind of thing. So the components of practical English are listening, to learn from others, thinking, which is personal filtering, reading, understanding others. Now, these three are the foundations of English, practical English. So we will stop after these three sessions and have a Q&A session. Then once we have answered all your questions, do write, when you have questions, just put them in the chat box and it will be read out for me to answer. Then we will move on to speaking contextually, writing purposefully. And once we have done that, we have covered all the 5 components. We will have just a very short time where after you've heard all of these things, you can assess yourself and find out where are you in all of these areas and where would you want to go that you would know for yourself. And then we will go on to a Q&A session, the final Q&A session. Now here, I'd like to show you in these little pictures, you need to know who you are because you're very important. You're very important to yourself. You are your own brand, and your own brand
Hello.
is
Hello.
all of these things. That's
Can I ask one question?
your brand. And personal brand is what people will pay for. When people know that you are can deliver what they want, that's how you get promotions, and that's how you get people looking for you, offering you jobs, because they know that you can deliver for them. So case study number 1 is listening to learn. And this man that you see here was my late father. He's a Malaysian. We're all Malaysians. We were not brought up overseas. We were not born overseas. We're all Malaysians. But my father was an English language teacher. And so even before I went to school, as a child, when I was learning how to speak, he made me listen to correct English, how he spoke it. And he would correct me. That was my grounding. He would correct me when I would speak. And you see, as a child then, I just, children's minds are very fresh and we don't have to unlearn as children. So that was my grounding. I did not undergo an academic English course, but because I had the grounding, then later when I went to school, I could understand all the tenses and that kind of thing, all the grammar. So for you then, it is really, really important to listen and to practice what you hear. What are you going to listen for? Cultural requirements are really important because we work in different cultures. The way you speak is easily understood by the people who are familiar with your culture. The time when we need to adapt is when we move to another culture, or our employer is from another culture, or our business associates are from a different culture. What do I mean by that? Well, mainly English is British English and American English, mainly. There's Australian English as well. But these
How
are the
many
main.
hosts will be asked?
So like when I explained to you that I moved from being a BBC broadcaster and I went to the American Embassy, one of the jobs that I had to do there for my boss was to write things for him on his behalf. Now I would have to show them to him so that he could approve what I was writing. And pretty early on, he looked at me and he said, "Evelyn, you can't spell." And I thought, me? Can't spell? Well, that's what he meant was I was spelling in the British way and I couldn't do that working in the American Embassy. I had to learn the American spelling. So this is what I mean when I say you need to suit the cultural requirement that you are working in, whether it's a company or a business. Then you also need to listen for what good grammar sounds like. Grammar is actually the rules of the language. And that's really important to listen and understand how good grammar sounds like. Good grammar and syntax. Syntax is how sentences are structured. In fact, the proofreading that I do, I was just proofreading a piece today, and the corrections that I make are mostly with grammar and syntax. Nothing wrong with the information. The information is perfect. They're all subject matter experts. So this is really very important to you. The next thing that you need to listen for is listen to how you sound. I'll tell you another little story. This comes from one of my training classes, and this was on presentation skills. And see this little icon graphic right here? It reminds me of this young engineer who was in the class, and he said, "Miss Evelyn, I have a story to share. Can I share something with the class?" I said, "Sure you can." And what he told all of us was English was not his first language. He was not comfortable speaking English. He was an engineer, a good engineer, but his boss promoted him to becoming a manager. As a manager, he had to be a team leader. And to be a team leader, he had to be fluent in English. It wasn't good enough just to be an engineer knowing all the technical stuff anymore. He wanted the promotion. So what he did was every day, he stood in front of the mirror, like this graphic little here, in front of the mirror, and he rehearsed and spoke to himself. And he said he did that every day, and then he became confident. So you can do that too. Study number 2 is about thinking. Personal filters. What do I mean by personal filters? You know, all of you are hearing the same thing. You're hearing the same message. Yet you are understanding what I'm saying differently because you are a unique person and you have your own way of filtering things. And that's fine. But we need to understand why sometimes people say we're not clear or people may misinterpret. I'll give you an example here of filtering. This was a good example. Now, right here, you see this photo where I was a mentor at one of the universities had organized a session for innovation. And there were university students from all over, from first-year students to PhD students. And they came from many, many different countries. The university was in Malaysia. And there were a team of mentors. I was just one of many. And each mentor spoke about something to do with entrepreneurship before all these people went off into their little groups, like a group here. This was from a different university group, so that they could plan what they want to do, and they could come up with any innovation, and the mentors would go around and help them to develop their idea so that it would be profitable. Now, I chose to speak on social entrepreneurship because it was something I'm familiar with. I've always enjoyed voluntary work, and social entrepreneurship is quite popular in many parts of the world. So that is what I spoke on. After the presentation, I was really surprised when this young man came to me and said, "Miss Evelyn, thank you, Miss Evelyn." I said, "Why?" I said, what is it?" And he said, "You know, I've always wanted to do business. I want to be in business. I want to do something in business, but I didn't know what to do. And because I heard about social entrepreneurship, now I know what kind of business I want to do." So that was his filter. His filter was doing business for social good. So this is something you need to think about as well. The other thing that you need to think to do is to think in English. Why? Because when you think in another language, even though you're very comfortable in that language, when you want to speak or write in English, it's going to slow you down to translate, and you might not be able to find the right words. So when you get into the habit of thinking in English, that will help you to fast track your fluency, and you will be able to communicate a lot more quickly and more accurately. Practice contextually. In other words, what are you speaking about in a certain context? Like here, in this case, it was entrepreneurship, but what kind of entrepreneurship? Increase your vocabulary. I don't mean learn more big words. That's not what I mean. What I mean is learn more simple, clear words. Because do you know, it is far more skillful to say something simply than it is to use a lot of big words. And that's what professional writers have to do. But in order to write and speak clearly, you actually need to have a good vocabulary so that you know which is the right word to use in the right place. Then practice with friends. Organize debates. Look at perhaps, you know, YouTube, and just create your own opportunities. Maybe if you're with your friends, maybe during lunchtime or in classrooms, have a little competition, using English all the time, challenging each other, and that's when you will improve. Now, how to apply filters? Now, here you see some things that you may be thinking, very commonly may think, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, I don't know how, I don't have the experience, this is not my skill. Well, you need to speak to yourself in the mirror. And your self-talk should be like this. I can try, I will improve, I can learn, I will practice, I don't have to be perfect. And let me tell you a secret. Nobody is perfect, not even the experts. There is no such thing as perfection. So just be yourself and just keep improving. Improving means be better than you used to be. Case study number 3 is reading and understanding. It's really important. This is, in fact, a very common mistake that we make. A common mistake is we want to tell what we know, but that is not what people want. We actually have to know, what does the boss want, or what does the customer want? Even though you have the skills required, it might be frustrating when your work is rejected and you don't understand why. So here is another case study that I can share with you. Here is a photo of a training session that I was doing. This was on writing reports, and all the people there were professional people. But they wanted to just improve. It's not that they didn't know how to write reports. They were sent to improve their writing. And at the end of the day, the first day, there were 2 young men who came up to me looking really frustrated. They said, Miss Evelyn, we are already doing all the things that you taught. Our English is perfect. See this photo here. And we're following all the rules, but our boss still keeps rejecting our writing And we don't know why he asked us to come and learn from you, because we're already doing what you said. So I said, can I have a look at your reports? So the next day they brought their reports to me in the morning, and they were right. They were writing perfect English, and they were writing very clearly and very well. But that's not what the boss wanted. You really need to know what was wanted from you. You see, these two young men were from the credit control department, and they were reporting on all of the things which they should be reporting on. But that's not what the boss wanted. The boss wanted to see a report which detailed all the reasons why their company should or should not give credit to the customer they had interviewed. Once they understood the why, then they were able to write very well, and we continued then the rest of the workshop very well. So what you need to do is to check and to confirm the context. Where do you find credible resources to learn from? Okay, right here is what you're looking for: clarity, to be clear. And so in order to be clear, it needs to be so clear that even a child can understand you, no matter what you're writing. And these are some good resources that you can look to: international newspapers, international news channels, international journals, articles for international readers, and books for international readers. Why is the common word international? Because it needs to be so clear that everybody from whichever culture that's reading your work in English can actually understand it. So that is why these are the places that is good for you to look to learn some examples from. So now we're going to take a break to have a question and answer time. And your questions must be about listening, filtering, reading, and understanding anything that I've covered so far. I'll take questions.
Right, audience, so we appreciate your questions in the chat box. So if you want to ask directly, it's also open for now.
Yes, can I ask a question, please?
Yes,
Sure,
go
sure.
ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, hello.
I can hear you.
Firstly, I'd like to thank you very much for this beneficial and fruitful session. I admired what you said very, very much. But I'd like to ask, my question is how to blend the four skills together. Okay.
How to? I didn't quite catch that. How to?
Yes, yes. How to integrate the four skills together, please.
I'm sorry. Could someone repeat that? I'm not getting the question, and there's also some background noise.
The audience, we suggest put the question in the chat box because everyone is unmuting and then there's a noise. And please introduce yourself first, then ask question.
I have a question.
Please put in the chat box because everyone talk together, it's a noise. Huh?
Yes. Please, you can mute everyone. You can mute. Can I ask the question again, please?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes. The question is how to integrate the four skills.
This is creating noise again. I think you please put the question in the chat box. By this time, Miss Evelyn, there is a question from Miss Marjana Akhtar, Momo. I have a question actually. I can't speak English in front of everyone. How to avoid this fear? Please unmute. Your mic is muted. Yeah.
When you're afraid of speaking in front of people, then just speak to yourself in front of a mirror. And when you get used to speaking to yourself in front of the mirror, then start speaking maybe to children in your family or your neighbors. Start out with people whom you are comfortable with. And then from there, as you gain confidence, you will be better. It is just like that engineer I told you about. That was his fear. And that's what he did. He actually practiced by speaking into the mirror every day. And then when he became comfortable speaking to the mirror, he started speaking with other people in his family, the children in his family.
Right, thank you. There is another question from Miss Maria. She's from Philippines.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate the audience. Please mute your mic. The question is, why do students have the difficulty understanding a question? Are there a barrier behind understanding? If there are, how do we address this issue? Thank you.
Well, there are many reasons why anybody, not just a student, can understand something that you said. It could be unfamiliarity with the language, in which case you can look the words up in a dictionary. Or maybe we don't understand the culture. So someone will be talking about something that we don't understand. And the way to do that is to ask that person to explain what that person means.
I also want to ask.
I think you're lost. Please, I repeat, please put your question in the chat box. Right, Mr. W, your mic is muted. There is another question from Mr. Rajesh Shah. Do vocabulary matter while speaking?
Yes, it does, very much. Vocabulary is very, very important. And that's why I would encourage you to improve your vocabulary as much as possible. It is one of my tools when I do proofreading, because I know what a person wants to say, but I know that they've used the wrong word. And that's because they didn't have the right word to use. So read a lot, read as much as you can in order to improve your vocabulary. Play vocabulary games with your friends in a circle, something like that. Make it fun. Learning can be fun, and learning should be fun, but vocabulary is really very, very important.
Yes, please. Hello, Evie. Hello?
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Yes, hello, Evie. I can try it on my keyboard, please. May I ask the question live, please?
You go ahead and please ask the question. Yeah.
Yes, it's for half a minute. Please, Miss Evie. Hello? Can you hear me, Miss Evie, now? My question is, we are going to online teaching now, and I'd like to know how to integrate the 4 skills online.
You'd like to know how to integrate skills online?
Yes. I'd like to know how to integrate the 4 skills online.
That is a different, actually, question, because it is really about teaching methods. Teaching methodology is about instructional design.
Okay, thank you, Evie. Thank you, but I enjoyed your session today. Thank you very much.
Go ahead and look this up. Look up instructional design for online teaching.
Yes, I do online teaching in Egypt.
Okay.
And I'd like I'd like to know how to integrate the 4 skills online teaching.
Well, that's
Excuse me, may I have some time, please?
Please put your question in the chat box. It would be easier for us, in a systematic way. Otherwise, it will be noise, and none of us would be getting benefit out of that. Right,
Okay.
Miss Evelyn, there is another question from Mr. Musharraf. He said, I can't talk nicely in front of audience. That is my big problem. But now I'm working with foreign consultant, and how can I improve that? I think there's a similar question was asked before. Yeah.
yes. With everything, it's really about practice, and I would say be kind to yourself. Don't get disappointed because it just takes a little bit of improvement each time, and with every little improvement, you will become better. Just aim to be better next week than you are this week. But to
Please,
that
give
teacher,
me some chance.
that
Give
from
me a chance. For question, I have a question.
Let our speaker to finish one, then we'll proceed to the next. Yeah. We
Okay, thank you.
appreciate
Thank you.
your cooperation. All of us, please put your mic off.
Thank you.
okay, the teacher from Egypt and about integration. Go and look up instructional design for online teaching and games and ideas for how to be creative. That's how you integrate it.
All right, Ms. Evelyn, there is a question from Mr. Amatapa. He's from Nepal. And the question is grammar should be correct while speaking?
That's a very, very good question because the answer is no. When we speak to communicate. We don't speak in order to be perfect in academic English. So those are two different things. We need to know good grammar, yes. But does the grammar need to be perfect? No, it doesn't. Because it depends on whom we're communicating with as well. That person whom we're communicating with may not have perfect grammar, in which case when we use perfect grammar, that person may misunderstand. So that is a really good question. When we are speaking to someone, we speak in order to get a message across. Unless you're making a formal speech or you are teaching academic English or something like that, then you actually have to have perfect grammar. I hope that helps. I hope that helps everybody who's listening.
Thank you, Ms. Evelyn. It's really helpful. There's another question. I think this one you have attempted already. Will you please revise once again about the topic, how to apply filters?
Okay, I will do that. I will do that when I talk about speaking contextually. Any more questions? There was one more man who wanted to ask a question.
Yeah, there is a
Hello,
question.
ma'am.
Yes, go
Hello,
ahead.
ma'am. Can I ask something?
That's Rita, isn't it?
Yes,
Go
ma'am.
ahead. Go ahead. And then after that, we
Yes,
go to Mr.
yes, ma'am.
Sarwa.
I
After
should
this, we go to
learn.
Mr. Sarwa.
Ma'am, you said that I should learn as much as vocabulary. But ma'am, I have a problem. After learning vocabulary, I just forget it because there is no sentence to use it properly. So ma'am, please tell me what is the effective way to practice my vocabulary to remember it again and again. And ma'am, my second question is about grammar. Grammar has many parts, which parts are more usable in English. So which part I should learn first? And how to read an English book effectively to improve my English. So all about my vocabulary, my grammar, and reading a book. Please, ma'am, answer me.
Okay. First of all, I really, really recommend reading children's books because they are written very simply and clearly. Then the next thing is to speak. Your first question was, you remember a word, but after that you forget it because you don't use it. So you actually need to engage in conversation, talk to someone. You know, if there are any old people in your community, people who actually lived in the days of around the Second World War, those people might have learned English in schools. And those probably might remember, the old people. It's not only young people or people who have studied in English. You can look around and look for people whom you can converse with. You listen to the news, listen to the words that you're speaking, and then find someone to talk to. Because you're right, it is just like even riding a bicycle. If we don't practice riding the bicycle, we will forget. But if we practice and it gets built into us, then it is like memory. The brain will remember. So that is how to improve. You actually do need to speak every day. And one way to do it is to maybe get together with a group of friends and you tell yourself, okay, for the next 1 hour, the only thing that we're going to do is to speak English. Now I'm going to take one more question, and that's from Mr. Sarwa, and then we'll go on to the next case studies, and then we will have Q&A again at the end, okay?
I have a question, ma'am.
Yes.
At first, lot of thanks to management. There are arrangement the Zoom show for new English learner with beginner. This is really great job for new learner. It's very helpful for us. So I am feeling proud of you, feeling proud of management. So I need to another show for new English learner or beginner. At this moment, I'm happy for joining here, and all our participants take my greetings from Dhaka, Bangladesh. My question, ma'am, how can I develop my English speaking fluency? Because of English is the international language. When I can speak English fluently, then I think open the lot of opportunity, open the lot of door, I will get success. So anyhow, I want to develop my English speaking skill and need your help. And please advise me some tips.
You're right. And the way to develop our fluency is to speak English as often as possible. If there are many of you who this is what you want, then you should maybe talk to the Skills Development Center to have a course which focuses only on conversational English.
Yeah.
That is also possible.
Yes. So I'm very feeling interest for foreign friend for practicing English and increase my community for English correspondence conversation by mobile or text message or email. So really this is gorgeous, and ma'am perfect advice to me. So I need to foreign friend for English speaking development and invite my foreign community and looking foreign friend for speak English fluency and conversation. Thanks a lot, ma'am. Again and again, great advice to me. I am happy.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. At this
Ma'am,
moment,
please, can I have one question, please?
Yeah. Please hold on. We are receiving repetitive question. I mean, our audiences needs to be a bit more careful, because we are receiving a lot of questions and we do not want our speaker to repeat the same thing. So if you listen the question from the others, maybe you get your own answer. So at this point of time, there is an announcement from ISDC. Yeah, we also receiving some feedback. While Miss Evelyn taking a bit of rest for a while, so the announcement from ISDC. In regard to the certificate of attendance, we will distribute feedback form end of this session, and those who complete this will get the certificate of attendance. Miss Evelyn, could you please stop your screen?
Hello.
Then I need to share my screen. The audience, please mute your mic so you can hear us properly.
We'll put our feedback form into our chat box end of our seminar. So please stay with us end of our seminar. Then we will get the feedback form, and you fill up. Then you will get the participant certificate from ISDC. Thank you.
All right.
We are going to offer the professional English course. So now I'd like to request Mr. Sohail, please.
Right. ISDC is going to offer a course which is known as Certificate in Professional English. I will be glad to hear this that this course is actually from Wilmington Metropolitan University, and this is a project-based learning. As you know that how to fast track your successes, and there are many issues in our writing, speaking, listening, yeah, and communicating with others. This is for those who are working and those who are students, those who are planning to go abroad for higher studies and all. Everything will be covered, right? This course will be facilitated by Ms. Evelyn Samuel, our honorable speaker tonight. So this course is suitable for working adults and all backgrounds, even the fresh graduates also can apply. There is no previous experience is required for this course. Regarding the fees is very low. Yeah. So the certification, as I mentioned, the certification from Wilmington Metropolitan University, US. And one of the criteria to get the certification, to attend all the classes and to achieve at least 70% marks. Please note that there won't be any final exam. This course is 100% assignment or coursework basis, right? So those who will be enrolled, they will get a certificate from Wilmington Metropolitan University. The duration of this course is 3 months, that is 12 classes. And each session is 2 hours. So this would be a sample certificate, how it look like from Wilmington Metropolitan University. Regarding the fees, all of our certificate courses mainly $125 US, but for this period, considering the global pandemic situation and all, we are offering this course with a 68% scholarship for first 15 participants. That is $40. In Bangladesh currency, it would be 3,400. In Indian rupee, 3,000. In Nepal rupees, 4,700. Bhutan BTN is 3,000. Right. For this, we'll distribute a admission form now. It has to be confirmed by tonight, and the payment has to be made by 8th February to get this 68% scholarship. For other participants, also may get this opportunity. Those who are failed, those who will be failed to make payment by 8th of February, there will be another option for 55% scholarship, and the fees would be around $56. And that opportunity would be until 15th of February. Right. So the form, the link of the form is given in our chat box. So you can take you a bit of your time to fill up this form. Right. So we'll go back to Ms. Evelyn for other questions. Ms. Evelyn, I have received some questions. I will forward to you one by one. Yeah.
Can we leave them to the end? Because otherwise we're going to run out of time.
I don't get you, Mr. Flynn.
Can those questions wait until our next Q&A session? There's another Q&A session.
All right. Okay, then I accumulate more questions. Maybe you go ahead with your session first. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a little bit more,
right,
because that was the foundation.
Right.
And someone wanted me to repeat the explanation on how to about filtering.
Right.
I will do that.
Right. So you will cover actually some of the questions. Yeah. Solid. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, we want to move on to speaking contextually, which is the fourth item. And this is where we can talk about filtering again. Okay, listening is the first skill. Filtering is the second skill. Now, you see, this is how it works. We need to listen, we need to think, then only do we speak and write. I will go on to writing in a moment. But these are the steps, and that's why I encourage you to think in English. Listen to as many good sources as you can, and practice thinking and practice speaking, even to yourself in the mirror. So this is the case study that I wanted to share with you. You can see here in this picture, it was one of the television shows that I was hosting. And the theme was the same, but every interviewee or celebrity would have a different story to tell. And these celebrities were arranged by the producer, and I had to ask them questions. And one of those persons went completely off track. That person was not speaking when we say context, which we mean the theme. So I had to look at what it was about. That's the project owner. Do I have the information? Where do I get more information? Skills for getting appropriate information. Now this is filtering what someone else is saying. There are two parts to filtering. Filtering, first of all, is listening. What is that person saying? Do I understand? You get the feedback. The second part to filtering is we ask that person, what do you mean? Can you explain? And then we need to bring it back on track to what we want to express. So this is what we mean by speaking contextually. For example, someone asks us a question and we may give the wrong answer. We didn't mean to give the wrong answer, it's just that we didn't understand. So then the other person won't understand us, so we need to stop right there. And we need to say, what is it I said that you didn't understand? Or we need to direct that person back to the topic because that person has gone off track. For example, just a couple of days ago, we were discussing a program that we wanted to put on, and we were talking about topics. This was in a committee meeting. And then after that, I actually wrote a message to the person who was in charge, and I used a certain acronym. You know what an acronym is? An acronym is a short form. So the person came back to me and said, what does that mean? So she was getting feedback. So we get feedback, then we correct it and make the actual correction so that there is no misunderstanding. If you are not very clear about this, do ask me, put it in the chat box, and we will address it later. I've just one more case study to share with you, and this is on writing, because this is, we listen, we think, we process, we speak, and only then do we write. Writing is the last thing that we do. And in the course that I'll be teaching, that will be the last module. So This is an example of a case study where this was an in-house workshop, and it went for several months. And the thing is, they wanted to, it was a group of internal auditors. Again, they were professionals. They knew exactly what their job was. But my client was the chief internal auditor, and he was just frustrated. He had about 45 internal auditors. That was a group of 45. We were trading in batches, but they were not writing simply enough. So in order to write simply, you need to know the objectives for your writing, why you're writing. Next, we need to know, what does my reader want to know? And that's what these auditors need to understand. What does the reader want to know? Then we compile all the information. What do I want to get from the writing? What my reader wants to get from the writing. Then we insert subheadings and punctuation. Punctuation is a very, very important part of grammar, and it's fun to learn. Once you have mastered punctuation, you will just keep using it all the time because it's so easy to use. Then once we have compiled all of that, we need to remove any unnecessary words and phrases so that our writing is clear, and then we finish it off with precise overviews and titles. So this is what we do as writers, but it doesn't stop there, because we really need to ask someone else to proofread for purpose and clarity. The reason for that is, when we are writing, we are so familiar with the information, we are the experts on the information, that our brain may miss some mistakes. That's why we need to ask someone else to proofread, and they need to tell us what they don't understand. So, excuse me. Now that you have heard about these 5 points, listening, thinking, reading, speaking, and writing, we're just going to spend a few minutes, not long, for you to make an assessment of yourself. Okay? Mark from 0 to 5. I pay careful attention to unspoken meanings, 0 to 5. I am good at understanding what others want from me, 0 to 5. I always understand what customers, other people want, 0 to 5. Customers always understand what I say, 0 to 5. I write clearly and concisely, 0 to 5. Now, I hope you made some marks there while I was speaking. Give yourself 2 points for each mark. Add up your points. I'll give you a few minutes to do that. Once you've added your points, this guide is to help you to know what level of classes you should be looking at for yourself. If your score was 10 and under, go for classes which have many, many exercises and assessments. Why? Because these give you lots of time to practice, practice, practice. If you get from 10 to 15, take classes which give feedback on homework assignments. In other words, you've practiced, you can do homework on your own, but whoever's running the course must give you feedback on your homework assignments. If you had 15 and above, that means you're a pretty good communicator. Get personal coaching to focus on your particular goals. No one of us tops learning. All of us can learn a little bit more. So I hope you found that self-assessment helpful to help you to know where you are and what you need to develop and where you can, how you can improve further. And now we will go to our final time for questions and answers on any part that we've touched on. And I will leave it to Mr. Shaw to read out the questions, because you would have them in sequence, and also tell me when the last question is, because I believe that our time is also running out.
Right, thank you, Ms. Evelyn. There is a question from Mr. Shafiq Islam. I think I can attempt to answer this question. Mr. Shafiq said, I'm an English teacher and English language trainer. I won an international recognition for teaching English. So I believe this course is absolutely suitable for Mr. Shafiq. You will get a facilitator like very, very experienced trainer, Ms. Evelyn Samuel, and the certification would be from US, right? So the next question I move to Ms. Jinglen Fiego. She said, just for clarification on your presentation with how to apply field test, it's just about for a how it would be proper mindset on things.
The mindset is really, it was, sorry, may I go ahead, or was there some more?
Yeah, that's all. Is it just about for our proper mindset or on things? So she asking.
No, we need to filter. If we don't understand, we need to get feedback to make sure that we're on the right track. Because like the case study I told you about, like those two writers who were credit control officers, they were doing their work and they were doing good work, but the purpose was wrong. So we need to be very clear about the purpose.
There's another question from Bimal Adhikari from Nepal. Said, I can speak English, but I have a little problem on listening and understanding. Please, how can I able to understand clearly?
Well, if you can speak English, then you must be responding to something, right? So when you say you can understand, but you can speak, but you don't understand, then there's a gap there. Does that mean that when you reply, it is not the right answer? Is that what is meant?
Understanding issues, yeah. We move on to next, Miss Irene. She said, ma'am, which is the best that a speaker should use when speaking in public? Is it using highlightful words or just simple words that everyone could grasp?
Simple. Always be simple and clear. We don't need to use big technical words unless we are in a technical situation. That is why vocabulary is really important. You need to know many, many simple words, because every word has a slightly different meaning.
Right. I can add to that, no matter how good you speak, if your audience doesn't understand, then everything is vain, wasted. Yeah. Right. Next question. I have MA in English and I want to pursue PhD in applied linguistics. What do you suggest, madam?
Applied linguistics is a broad field, so I don't have the answer to that question.
Right. First of all, Mr. Esheri need to prepare a proposal for the area you would like to do your research. Then find a suitable university that offering PhD in English linguistics. Then you can apply thereafter. Right. Next question is, should you recommend English foreign books to be used in teaching English to non-English speaking countries? Yeah.
Should I recommend English?
He's asking, actually for his clarification, should he use foreign English books to use to teach English in non-English speaking countries?
I think it doesn't matter where the book comes from. What matters is that it is standard English is used. By standard English, I mean English that is understood according to international standards. It really doesn't matter which country it comes from. It's the quality.
Muhammad Yassi, he's asking, I don't get his word. I meet to someone, but I really don't know who is he, and he can ask me that, did you talk something about your boss? Then in which part of I have to see him?
What is the question?
I really didn't get it. Maybe Muhammad Yasid, I will open the floor for you to ask questions. By this time, there are a few people already raised hands to ask questions. Abdul Hamid, we unmute your mic to ask your question. Abdul Hamid. Abdul Hamid, are you with us? If not, we move to Rashid Al Karim. You would like to ask your question?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
I am Rashidul Karim from Bangladesh, Chittagong.
Right.
My question is, anyone here to say it with me in English after this program?
All right. Oh, okay, we'll match you up. Thank you. Next is Mr. Roshan Yadav.
Thank you.
Please unmute your mic and ask your question. Roshan Yadav.
Hello, namaste.
Yes, go ahead.
I am Roshan Yadav from Nepal.
Yep.
And nowadays I am working in bank, Kumari Bank, and there I got a problem in some English. So how can we get benefit, or how can we get learn from that?
You want to improve your English?
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay. The words that you don't understand, because you say you're working in English, look it up in a dictionary. There are a lot of good online dictionaries, free of charge, you don't have to pay, where you can get the meaning. You can also get alternative meanings. And as you do that every day, you will become more and more familiar with the words.
All right. Next, we move to Parsu Kafli. Yeah? Please unmute your mic and ask question. We can't hear you. I think there is a technical issues. Would you like to try again?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Just wanted to ask.
Yep.
Hello.
We don't get you. Yep.
Can you hear me, please?
Yes, clear.
Okay. I just wanted to ask, how do we really improve spoken English? Because I used to watch cricket, and I see that some of the cricketers at the beginning, they don't know how to speak English. But after the passage of time, they learn how to speak English fluently. So how do we really improve that, spoken English, especially?
Practice every day, as often as you can, with as many different people as you can. Practice is what brings fluency.
All right. We'll take another two questions. Yep. Yes, you'd like to add anything, Mr. Parsu?
Okay, I got that, but I just wanted to know, as I said, I gave one example, like some of the cricketers, they know how to speak English after the party. The meaning is like, are they improving? So how should I do that as well?
The meaning is what? Sorry, I missed that. It broke.
Meaning is, as I gave you an example, there are some cricketers, I was talking about the cricketers. At the beginning, they don't know how to speak English, but after some time, maybe after 1 or 2 years, they learn fluently how to speak English. Are they taking some classes for the spoken English, or how are they doing? I also wanted to do the same thing, actually.
Probably a combination of taking classes and then practicing. You know, there's a group of people whom I know that improves their English very well. And these people are those who work as taxi drivers, tour guides, people who meet a lot of foreigners. Because it's important to their business, they practice. They start out by speaking broken English, But with time, it improves and it becomes very good.
Especially cricketers, they play locally and internationally. And whenever they play internationally, they have to interact with them in English. Thank you, Mr. Pasu. We move to Pamela Thro. You please unmute your mic and ask question.
Hello, do you hear me, sir?
Yep, clear.
My question is regarding intonation and accent. So, if someone attend IELTS exam, so do we really need to use same intonation like English? So that's my question.
It all depends on who is listening to you. Because if you are speaking to people who are not from your community, then you need to use a standard pronunciation. But if you're speaking to people from the same community, you don't need to use a standard pronunciation because you're all familiar with the same accent.
Okay, thank you, madam. If my examiner is from India, so do I need to speak like Indian or my accent only?
As long as he understands you, that's fine.
Okay, thank
Mr.
you,
Blin,
madam.
he's asking in context of IELTS examination.
Or IELTS examination.
Right.
Well, if you are going for an examination, try and speak standard English.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
I mean, if your examiner doesn't understand standard English, then that is a different, that's a different issue. But IELTS, you know, it's an international standard. So ideally, the examiners should be looking at international standards, ideally. But remember that we don't live in a perfect world, yeah?
All right, we'll take a, I think we are almost crossing our time. So we'll take last question before that, just for audiences. Those who are completing the admission form, please make sure that you are really interested. Otherwise, someone else will lose or miss the opportunity. So please stay with us also. We'll double confirm after this session those who are completing this admission form. And in a while, we'll distribute our feedback form for certificate of attendance. Mr. Evelyn, there is a question from Miss Irene again. Okay. If someone speaks, some speaker choose to speak difficult words for them to sound witty, I'm sometimes disappointed every time I hear the speaking. I think she is sharing the opinion. There is no question. Mr. Sarwar, if you have any question, you can ask before you end this session. Mr. Sarwar with us? Please unmute your mic and ask question.
Yeah.
Thank
you very much. Thanks again for chance me. Really, I'm very happy to joining here. This is the great episode for new English learner, and which people are management. Thanks a lot again and again. And I want to know, please reply me, Evelyn, ma'am. I'm watching English news and watching TV, movies, cartoon, but native English speaker when talk with me, just hide some word. There are huge fast speaking. Just I don't understand their total sentence because of one kind of word height. So how I can how I will develop my listening skill?
If someone is using a word that you don't understand, you can ask them to explain that word, and they should do that.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Because,
Thank you.
you know, the English language is full of so many words.
Yeah.
And it's all right if we don't understand all the words. That's all right. We can ask people to explain that word.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. And please reply me my English speaking fluency. How you will provide me a grade or point? Just inspire me. I just
asking
I
how
get.
you will evaluate him. Yep.
how I would evaluate you.
His speaking skills, yeah.
Oh, well, I can understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Thank you. And more speak. I think practice can make someone perfect. So more speak, more gain, more success.
That's right.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Right. I think we receive an interesting question. It's again in relate to filter. How can we avoid filters like in while we are talking?
Oh, that again is practice, discipline. A good way to do it, because we're doing it unconsciously. So a good way to do it is to record your speech. When you record your speech, then you will realize where you are using these non-words. Then we will be more conscious of how to stop using them. But the first thing is to be aware of the mistakes.
Right.
So we record it first.
Thanks, dear management. Please tell me this show you will post to Facebook.
We are already on live, so there will be another recorded session. You can have a look in our official Facebook page.
Yeah. Okay, but the show already people are watching from Facebook.
There is no, it doesn't matter from where they are watching. As long as they are watching and getting benefited, we are happy.
Oh, fine. Thanks a lot. I'm happy. Thank you.
There was a question from Mr. Rashidul whether there will be any group. Please contact to ISDC with the phone number and email address provided. We will have in a community, so you can practice. Yep. So I think that's all for tonight, Miss Evelyn. It was really good session, and we are receiving good. Many of our audiences are saying thank you to you. So there is no other question, and we already 15 minutes ahead of our scheduled time. We appreciate your time and being with us. Support to ISDC. Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, we already post our feedback form in our chat box. Please fill up this one to get a certificate, participant certificate from ISDC.
We'd like to hear from the audiences. Kindly evaluate our session tonight and also suggest how we can improve. We have provided a form to you guys. With that, we need your name to be printed in the certificate, because we receive a call and email that there are mistakes in the certification. Then when we check the registration form, actually you are the one who give the name. So please be careful while you are giving your name and email address. Some people, they write COM instead of COM at the end of the email, right? So please be careful while you are writing or filling up the forms. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much. We will wait another few minutes to shut down this session.
Yeah, fine. Salute to everybody. Salute.
And another announcement from all, ladies and gentlemen. So if you want to get a 68% scholarship from ISDC, you have to fill up our application, our admission form we did tonight. So if you fill up our admission form within tonight, then you will get 68% scholarship from ISDC. And
Let me, Evelyn, I think we can leave now. The audiences are leaving as well. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Evelyn.
Yeah. Good night. We will wait another few minutes, those who are completing the feedback form. All the audiences, thank you for participating and cooperating with us. We really appreciate your support to ISDC.